Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, man. It's your boy, and the Black Friday sales have officially begun, and with that we now have 50% discounts across the board for every single uniform in the game. And I had a bunch of people hit me up on Discord asking for my take on which uniforms they should purchase, which ones they should skip, and all the other ones in between. So with that being said, we're gonna jump into a quick, I guess, smash or pass uniform video. Now, I'm showing you this page right here, not to flex, because this is not flex mode gaming. This is beast mode. Actually, pause. This is budget mode gaming, because we free to play. God damn it. We still boycotting, but we doing it the smart way. Right? We're using our crystals, and we're not giving these guys no more money. All right? So as you can see, I currently own 253 uniforms in this game. Do you need all these uniforms? Hell no, man. As you can see from the list, I only have like 124 of them at Mythic. And a lot of these uniforms that I have at Mythic, I only got the Mythic because they offer additional stats to other uniforms. So if you don't care about that, half of these uniforms you still don't even need, right? So I'm going to go through it. I'm going to give you guys my take on the uniforms that you should buy, the uniforms that you need to buy, and the ones that you can just straight up skip because they pure, say with me now, pure garbage. All right, been a while since we used that one, so let's jump right into it, man. I'm gonna show you guys the uniforms that I own, and a lot of them are skip. But as a content creator, right, I usually just pick up every single uniform these days, and then I'll try them out, give you guys my honest opinion, whether it's a pass, whether it's really good or what have you, and then I end up having a really big collection. So let's jump in. Let's look at the uniforms first and foremost that I don't own. From the ones that I don't own, the only ones that are worth buying, well, actually, there's only one that is worth buying, and it's not even here yet, and that's actually the Cable uniform, this one. The only reason I don't own it is because when they brought it out, because they wanted to make major dough, they never put it on sale. They didn't give us the standard 40% discount, and just as my way of sending a message to these guys like, hey, you're not gonna break the mold, you're not gonna freaking make it so that for years you bring out uniforms and then immediately put them on sale, and then all of a sudden, just because you want to milk players for a little bit more crystals when you're not giving them more ways to earn crystals, you're not gonna put this uniform on sale. So I'm like, all right, easy pass for me, man. Like, I'm not an ABX player, so I'm good with my old Cable uniform. All right, cool. So that's the only uniform from. So if you were thinking about buying any of these uniforms that I don't have, you're wasting crystals. Honestly, you are. All right, every single one of them, trash. Moving on. Let's look at the ones that I own. Now, from the ones that I own, I'm gonna make this real quick. Black Widow. This new one right here is fire. This one is better. This one right here is better because honestly, you have a bunch of characters that can do world boss. This one at least makes her very much so viable for PvP. So if you're a Conquest type of guy, well, enjoy it while you can, because once the reforged cards and CTP nonsense take over, you're gonna have to break the bank, take out a second mortgage and all that stuff to really keep up in anything PvP related. All right, but if you had to choose between the two, because you can't afford both, I would go with the PvP option, but the PvE option is pretty good too. All right, moving on. That's a skip. Okay, that's a skip. This is a skip. Sorry, like, that's a skip. That's a skip. Listen, Angela, both these uniforms for Angela, skip. Ant-Man, skip. Like, honestly, I'm saying skip everything Ant-Man related. Okay, he's a decent tier 3, like decent at best. We don't need decent, baby. So no. We're going all the way to Apoc Shakur. Major glow up for this guy. If, listen to me now. If you see yourself using Apocalypse, if you see yourself building him up, getting him to tier 3, and investing in him, like, all the way, then buy it. If you're just going to buy the uniform, not tier 3 him, barely play him, why are you buying it? Don't do it. Angel, don't buy, okay? Angel is a decent character. If you're an Angel fan, you're offended now. Listen, I like Angel. I like Warren, right? I like him. But I barely use him for anything but Shadowland. I don't think you should be wasting your crystals on a Shadowland uniform for a character that can already clear Shadowland stages without a uniform. Skip the Beast uniforms, both of them, right? Skip everything for Black Bolt until this one. If there's going to be a big asterisk on everything, well, almost everything that I say in here. If you're a Black Bolt fan, and you see yourself using this guy every single day for a world boss like myself, or every other day depending on who the boss is, and you're gonna tier 3 him, right? You're gonna tier 3 him, you're gonna invest in him the right way, right? Then yes, must buy. Otherwise, skip. Black Cat, skip. Black Panther, skip. Don't touch this man. Don't tier 3 him. Don't do nothing. R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman. We need a proper send off for the king. We need a better uniform. Okay. All these other Black Widow uniforms down here. Obviously, I talked about this one already, the snowsuit. So that's the only one you should consider buying. Blade, skip. Okay, skip. That's a Blade fan. Mythic uniform and everything. Listen, man, I got a CTP of Rage on my Blade. Skip. Skip. Anyways, if you play ABX and you see yourself using this guy, buy it. Otherwise, I would say wait for the better one, the Summer Days one. That's probably gonna come back next summer or something. Captain America. Only uniforms you want to consider buying is either like not that one, obviously, the Endgame one or the villain one. One of these two, like one of these two or this one. And it really comes down to, again, if you see yourself playing with this character and you are going to invest in them all the way. Tier 3 CTP of Rage, use him 2-3 times a week minimum, right? For high level content, then buy one of those uniforms. Otherwise, skip. Sharon Rogers, must buy. Must buy. Listen, again, well, even this, if you hate the character because she's not a Marvel character and she's a net Marvel, like Marvel Future Fight creation, and you're really upset with Marvel Future Fight, so you're just like, I'm not gonna use your characters anymore, then okay, don't buy the uniform. But she's still one of the highest DPS and characters in the game, and with this uniform, she's super safe and she can do pretty much anything PvE related. Okay, so there's that. Captain Marvel these days, I barely use the character at all outside of Shadowland. To be honest, I use her occasionally for timeline, but there's better characters, so I would say skip. I would say skip. My Carnage, I'm a Carnage fan. I invested in the character. I have a CTP of Rage on him. He's pretty good. He dies very easily though, right? This one, if you see yourself using the character, if you see yourself getting this thing to Mythic, if you're free to play, man, I would say skip. I would say skip. Must buy. Must buy. PvP might die for you. PvP might die for you with the direction that this game is going because of the whole Reforged CTP, the biggest whale wins and all that stuff, right? But in case they actually do fix the game, you do want to have Colossus because his 4-star passive that he applies to the team, reducing damage that you take from heroes and villains, it's a clutch passive to have. So it's good to have him. Okay. Skip Crescent, anyway, skip Crescent, skip my man right here, unfortunately, right? Skip Cross Bizzle, skip everything crystal related, skip what's his name, Call Obsidian, skip Cyclops. This is one of them. This is one of them ones that I'm gonna put an asterisk on. Asterisk, whatever. If you see yourself using Cyclops every day, 2-3 times a week, minimum. If you see yourself using him for Danger Room, if you see yourself using him for Giant Boss Raid, Galactus, if you see yourself tier 3ing him and giving him a CTP of Rage, then buy this uniform. It makes him a villain, so he gets extra utility there. But if you're not going to go all the way, don't touch it. Don't touch it, okay? This uniform is unfortunately not back for Black Friday. You cannot purchase it for Black Friday. Hopefully, the holiday season is coming around. So hopefully they're going to bring this thing back. My guess is they're going to try and milk players for more money and bring out new seasonal uniforms this December. So look out for that. But with that, they should bring back this uniform for Holiday Deadpool. Get it? Anyways, Holiday Deadpool and Gwenpool, hopefully. All right. So moving on, we're skipping everything going up to him. This is not the best uniform in the game, but it's not the worst either. It really comes down to whether or not you see yourself using him. He's actually pretty good for one-shotting world bosses, and he's meta if you don't have Spider-Gwen or Gwenom for squad battle in the Vibranium League. So if you want to farm more, Awakening Crystals, more Mandalay Gem Fragments and stuff, then he's not a bad buy. But again, all of this comes down to whether or not you are going to invest fully into these characters. Are you going to tier 3 them, or are you going to awaken them or transcend them? If that's not something you see yourself doing, do not buy uniforms for them. Okay, I don't like when players buy uniforms for characters and keep them at like level 60 and stuff, unless they can't go to like tier 3, because then like what's the point, right? You're better off investing in a character that you're gonna use more often, even if they're not the strongest in the game. Just because if you find a character fun for you, then it's worth the investment. Versus if a character is really strong but you hate playing them. That's just what it is, right? So this one right here, must buy for me, Doctor Strange. But that, again, it's a must buy for me because I like the character and I use him a lot, right? Very, very powerful uniform though. So if you want to pick it up, go ahead and do that. Dormammu, very expensive character, very expensive to build, very expensive uniform to upgrade. So this is an investment that you have to think about carefully. Dormammu is an amazing character. You can use him for PvP or for PvE, wherever you want to use him in the game. He's gonna do very well, but you will need to invest a lot into him. Your choice. Obviously, you want to. This is a support uniform, so if you need another support character for World Boss, because his uniform is gonna make it so you do more damage to universal characters, if you want to, you can pick it up. That's the only reason. Moving on, you want to skip over everything up until Enchantress, but I don't think Enchantress is on sale right now. And just like the Cable uniform, I don't think she's going to come back until summer. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. This uniform, even if you don't have the character, if you want to get a CTP of energy, I believe, you can buy this uniform and get it to Mythic using a Mythic uniform ticket. And then you'll actually get a CTP of energy. So that's something you need to consider there. The character himself, garbage. Shadowland only. That's it. Falcon, skip over. Gamora, skip over. Skip over Ghost. Coming on, we have Ghost Rider. Again, Ghost Rider, very, very strong character. Stage 99 of Call Obsidian. He can probably still do that with the right setup. Stage 99 of Ebony Maw, he can do it. He can do giant boss raid in record time. He can do Danger Room on the right weeks. He's the best. Very, very strong character. Aesthetically speaking, it's one of my favorite looking uniforms in the game. Drip, 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 dripping, right? However, it comes down to whether or not you see yourself using the character and whether or not you are going to invest in him fully. Tier 3, Rage, max build, all that stuff. If you're not going to use him, we're going to keep him at like level 60. He's still going to be strong, but you should probably buy something for somebody else that's going to be more fitting to your playstyle and be more enjoyable for you to use. Okay, because at this point, it all comes down to whether or not you enjoy playing with these characters, because there's so many different options, right? And so little content that requires you to use certain characters. So that's just what it comes down to. This uniform for Pimtron or Giant Man, you can buy it. It's fairly cheap, and it gives you access to a CTP selector, which you should then use to buy a CTP of Rage. Because just like the Killmonger uniform, if you go into the legendary battle, these uniforms are tied to challenges over there. Moving on, don't buy anything for Groot, right? Don't buy anything for Groot. This Gwenpool uniform should be coming back for for the holiday season, for the Christmas season. This one right here, just like Killmonger, if you upgrade it, you get a CTP of energy from the legendary battle. This one gives you a CTP of refinement, but I don't think that's worth it. Refinement is garbage. This Hulk uniform, I would say it's a must buy because Hulk is a really, really strong PvP character. But again, if you don't use the Hulk for PvP, or if you don't use the Hulk at all, it's not a must buy for you. That's just, it's clear as that. You already have Silver Surfer, you already have Jean Grey, you already have maybe Thanos built up, you're gonna build up Dormammu and put him into PvP. You don't need the Hulk, right? That's just what it is. Like, there's not enough restrictions that make it so you need the Hulk. So if you're not gonna use him, if there's no need for you to use him, why buy it? That's just what it is. Amadeus Cho, really, really good for War Boss. Very, very good for Giant Boss Raid. Danger Room, I haven't used him yet. Can't really speak to that. But he's very, very strong. He's kind of fragile. You can clap some stage 99 action with them, with the right setup, with the right build, but you will need to invest fully in the character. So that's something you need to consider. Skip over everything else. I would not buy a uniform for Hulkbuster or for Human Torch. Not for Hyperion either. Not for Bobby Drake. Nothing for Inferno. I would skip over Invisible Woman. Pretty much everything in this row is a dud. Right, coming all the way down, I would even go as far as saying to skip over Iron Man. Tony 3000. It's unfortunate. I love Tony. I love Iron Man. But I realistically don't use him out of Shadowland. I don't. He's like, with this uniform, he's really good on certain teams as a supporting like side character to help you one-shot stages. But I don't know if you would buy him just to help you one-shot stages. Maybe. Because then you spend less time playing this game and you can go play another game that maybe is more fun for you. Right? That's something you can consider. That's an investment to save you time. Invest crystals to save time for other things. You can do that. But outside of that, I don't really use Tony that much. Both of these Jean Grey uniforms offer value. This one is Blast. This one is Universal. So she can cover different days in ABX, or she can cover the Universal Day in ABX if you don't have like Odin or Ghost Rider or something, or maybe Medusa. So that's something you need to consider. But I feel like this one is good enough. So if you had this, or if you're going to choose between these two, I would still go over for this one. It's one of the rare cases in Marvel Future Fight where the older uniform is actually the better. Usually, it's crazy. Usually it's the other way around. So we're skipping over everything here up until Luna Snow. Luna Snow, still one of the highest DPS and speed characters in the game. Not even speed characters, just characters in general. Really, really good. Must buy uniform if you like her playstyle and you want to use her. But again, tier 3, all that good stuff. Okay? You need to invest. You need to invest. Alright? So we're skipping everything here. Magneto is really good. Magneto is very, very strong. He's still kind of fragile for World Boss when the modifier is stuff like Blade Twister or Poison Meteor, or if the boss has a bleed mechanic, like he can die very, very quickly. But he's very, very powerful for stuff like Danger Room and Giant Boss Raid. That kind of stuff that really don't test his survivability that much. His damage is insane. He's pretty good for those kind of content, and ABX as well. So something for you to consider. But again, you will need to invest in the tier 3. Okay, the uniform makes them better, right? But the tier 3 just takes them to that next level. Moving on, we have Medusa. Let down your hero, Medusa. Very, very strong universal character. For me, she's a must buy, but that's just because I use her so much. I use her a lot. So it really comes down to your usage and how much you like these characters and how they play. But this is not a wasted investment by any means. Definitely one of the best universal characters in the game right now. I would dare say skip over this guy. I don't use him that much, but that's just my personal preference. I still find him to be very powerful, right? He can do like GBR, he can do Danger Room, he can do World Boss, but he's very fragile. I feel like we have better characters now, especially this guy, Moon Knight. Moon Knight just slaps so hard that if you look at just the investment that you need to make into Reed compared to the investment, I know one is tier 3 and one is Awaken, but you don't even need to transcend this guy. You just need to like awaken him, and he's already going to be clapping way harder and being way safer because he has multiple heals than Mr. Fantastic. So I would say skip over Mr. Fantastic and build Moon Knight instead. That's just me. Leave this guy at like level 60. Wait for him to get like another uniform or something, because you know they like to sell uniforms. So we'll just skip over that. I like this uniform for Kamala. That's just me. I feel like she is complete with it. Very, very safe. Very, very powerful for what she is. Not Awakened. No tier 3. So if you're just looking for a really fun, easy to use character, she's good. He's pretty good too. Even though he's dated, he's still pretty good. Fun to play, easy to use, safe. Must buy. You know me. I love my Namor. One of my favorite characters in the game. I love Namor. Did I just say I love Namor? That's right, I love Namor. All right, so must buy for me. I use Namor pretty much any opportunity that I can use him. I use him. This comes down to whether or not you're gonna use the character, or if you even have access to him because he's a paywall, right? Because you're gonna need to tier 3 him to see real value, real numbers, right? And then after that, you need to slap a rage on him, and then he's big time. This uniform makes your Nick Fury a little bit better, but is it a must buy? Probably not. It really is just a small incremental increase to DPS, and to be honest, the base kit just looks way better. Like, come on. It looks way more Nick Fury. All right, skip over Nightcrawler. Then we have my guy Odin. Yes, must buy. If you're gonna tier 3 Odin, shit, if you are new and you're gonna buy Odin to unlock Odin, because you have to spend crystals to even get him now, right? You need to buy this uniform, and then you need to take him to tier 3, and then he becomes one of the highest hitting characters in the game in terms of putting out big boy numbers. That's just facts. Skip over everything. I want to say Skylock is still worth buying, but I love Baylock. Don't get it twisted, but I really don't use her that much. I don't use her that much anymore, but she is still one of the best tier 2 characters in the game. Like, she hits really, really hard, and the day she gets an awakening or a tier 3, she'll definitely be in the top again. But for now, I think you could skip over that if you don't see herself. If you don't see yourself using her at all. All right, cool. So Cosmic Ghost Rider, he's very, very squishy. That juicy 5%. Okay, John. All right, so Cosmic Ghost Rider is really powerful offensively, but he dies very easily. And literally the only pieces of content that I still use this guy for after his initial release with this uniform is squad battle, because he still has use there. But besides that, I don't really use him. And now that you have Ghost Rider, do you even need him? No. If you're in a tier 3 Ghost Rider, you're fine without him, right? Because Ghost Rider has the exact same tag, Universal Hero. Oh no, he's Cosmic Ghost Rider is a villain, right? Yeah. Okay, moving on. If you use Pietro, that's the only reason for you to actually build this guy, like, or buy this uniform. Like, I know people have said he's fallen off and stuff. Mine is still pretty good. Mine is all raged up with maxed out stats, so he still slaps. But if you plan to use him or tier 3 him, buy the uniform. Otherwise, skip it. Moving on. I think this is a skip. Like, it's sad to say, because I really like his animations and stuff, but his damage just kind of like meh, and the hype just kind of fizzled out, and I don't really use him for much, and he doesn't really have too much value. That's a skip for me. Everything in this row, kind of a skip. The leadership on red is good for Namor, and he's not the worst character in the world, but that's a skip. I still love my rogue, and if you don't have the holiday uniform for Deadpool, she is actually really, really good for squad battle Vibranium League, the speed mutant day. So that's something for you to consider. Skip over Saber-Tooth, even though he's pretty good. It's expensive to upgrade his uniform, and you have better combat options. Combat supervillain options, you have way better. Scarlet Witch, if you're gonna tier 3 my baby, you gotta come correct. You gotta buy this uniform, and you gotta give her a rage. The fat baby Nimrod, skip. Honestly, he didn't live up to the hype. He needs a tier 3 or an awakening. He needs more stats to keep up with the meta. I would say skip. Shuri's a support. She gets better with the uniform. If you need a stronger support, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, skip. Gwenom. Yes, if you need a speed female villain, Gwenom is your girl. She is really, really good. Very fragile, though. Well, I wouldn't say very fragile. She's very vulnerable when she uses certain skills. Skip Spider-Man. $20.99 only if you like him. Only get this uniform for Miles if you are going to tier 3 your Carnage. If you're going to buy the uniform for Carnage and tier 3 Carnage, go ahead and do that. This uniform for Star-Lord, the only reason why you should buy it is because you have to tier 3 Star-Lord to finish the epic quest and unlock Beta Ray build. So having a tier 3 character who's pretty much unplayable because he's like this with trash ass skills is kind of whack. So this is one that you kind of have to buy. You don't really have a choice. Well, if you're gonna use the character outside of his leadership, but he's pretty strong. Storm is pretty good, but I like Storm personally. I'm a big Storm fan, so my bias will probably be taken over by saying like I like Storm a lot, and I don't feel like I wasted my money on this. But she is very fragile. I will say that if you're not careful, she would die rather quickly. This is a must buy. There's no if and or buts about it. Kind of like Colossus, you need to buy that uniform because Taskmaster is one of the best support characters in the game. And there were some data mines / leaks That said, Taskmaster might get a tier 3 skill. You didn't hear it from me. Okay? You didn't hear it from me. Alright. Let's move on. We have Thanos. Only if you're going to use this guy in PvP, or at all even, should you be building him up or getting this uniform. But keep in mind, he's top 5. He's top 5 for PvP right now. And I feel like he's going to hold that spot for a minute, so that's not a bad buy. I would not buy any uniform for Thor. Any uniform at all. Well, this one still has value because he gives you the card, the premium card. Still to this day, I have it equipped. This one, right? So, yeah. And since the game is transitioning to where you need to have premium cards equipped so you can craft them and stuff, getting that one for free with really good stats is not a bad idea. But besides that, I would not buy any other uniform for Thor, because Thor Love and Thunder is going to be released soon enough, and that's going to probably be, well, if it's not, that would be another debacle for the Future Fight team. But more than likely, that's going to be Thor's best uniform, so don't invest too heavily in any of the more expensive option. Just pick up the cheap one, get the card, and then just let Thor sit on the bench because you don't need him for anything. If you see yourself using Venom, go ahead and pick that uniform up. Otherwise, big skip. Sad to say, right? Because he just dies way too quickly. This uniform is a must buy either way though, because this one is gonna make it so that if you're using a character with defense down in their kit, he's not being, like, I guess, a nuisance to you, because this one has defense down on the skill that will drop the healing symbiote. So if you're using a character like Deadpool or whatever, well, with Deadpool you don't need healing. So maybe who would we say is a good option? Like Mystique. Mystique dies very easily, and she doesn't have a heal built in, right? So with a character like Mystique, you would not want to use this version of Venom as a striker, because Venom has defense down on his striker skill, so that will interfere with Mystique's defense down, so you would use this version of Venom. So this uniform is definitely super valuable, even if you're a new one, you just bought this one, okay? So cop this one for Black Friday, 100%. Moving on, White Fox, kind of, you can kind of skip over, yeah, you can kind of skip over her for Black Friday, but this 10% is nice, and I use White Fox a lot. I feel like that extra 10% is really, really useful, more useful than people realize, especially if you put her together with somebody like Moon Knight, because Moon Knight has the leadership tag, and then Moon Knight can take advantage of her leadership. So for me, that's a good buy. But for you, it's probably something you can skip. 10% is not the biggest thing in the world. Skip everything here. Everything else down to, I guess, Yelena. Don't buy anything for Wolverine. I know. Sad. I know. You want to buy it because you love Logan. Team Logan. But Team Logan, we hurting out here in these streets. All right? Yelena. The last uniform I'm going to talk about on this thing. It really comes down to whether or not you're going to use this girl. She's very strong, but there's nothing in the game that requires her. Right, there's literally nothing in the game that requires her, but she is really good for World Boss in this uniform, and pretty damn good in PvP with this one, because she turns invisible and just claps people up, kind of like Black Widow. But if you buy Black Widow and you tier 3 her, like if you buy Black Widow's uniform and you tier 3 her, there's no need for Yelena. Literally no need, because Black Widow is gonna have higher base stats, and she's gonna do just as good, actually better than Yelena. So we're gonna wrap it up right here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry about the length of the video, but I did want to touch on every uniform that I think still offers value that you should buy. Sad to say, a lot of these that I have are just duds, man. They're really just duds. Don't use them for much besides Shadowland, and I don't think I should be recommending uniforms that I only use for Shadowland. That's not good enough these days, boys. I'll catch you guys. Peace.